Hi everyone, welcome to the Learn, Invest, Grow show. I'm Tay Kim, and joining me as usual is Adam Levine. Hey Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a Thursday morning down in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Let me tell you something. This is the life down here. I mean, it gets hot here. It's been raining for the past few days. We're actually in a gated community. We live in a community where there's two golf courses. There's a country club here.
Hmm.
This is one of our houses. It's nice. Look at this. Look what we got here.
Yeah,
Look.
wow, that's gorgeous.
It's
Yeah,
got the
look
golf
at
course,
that. Yeah.
but this is our backyard. Believe it or not, there are alligators here. My father saw one in the past in the backyard. So if you do have a
Mm.
dog, be careful because
Okay.
you know they are out there. I actually saw one alligator on the golf course once when I was playing golf with my father. It was maybe let's say 8 years ago. I remember my dad. He was it was the craziest thing. My dad hit a ball by the water, and what ended up happening was I see like this head pop up. And my father's
Oh wow,
walking. Actually,
really?
no, my father was about to hit his golf ball. He's right by the water. His back towards the water. I see his head pop up, and I know he's looking at my father. He's like, "Ooh." He's the alligators. Probably got excited. They see this nice. You
Yeah,
know,
it shows
uh,
up playing hide and seek over there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, alligator behind you. You look back. He pulled up his golf club. But the alligator wasn't like he wasn't. He was getting close. I mean, he was. I mean, look at it. Yeah. And then we actually told the ranger. The ranger's like, yeah, he's about, I don't know, let's say 10 feet, or I forget the exact. It was big. And he's like, when they get to a certain size, then they'll go in, they'll grab them and have to move them. But the point is that there are alligators here in Florida. I saw one. And there was one back here, my father said, that they saw. So if you have pets, be careful. Keep them on a leash.
Wow,
Um,
yeah.
you know,
But
uh,
still, I wish I was there with you. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's for real estate investors here or any investors, the place you want to be. A lot of money is actually coming down here in Florida. Like my
Mm.
father's down here. A lot of the smart people who are business owners are they're coming down here because it's considered a tax haven. This is a whole other subject we'll talk about. But all right, so the topic today is transparency and reporting. Okay, this is a very important topic. And hey, you want to shed some light on us? Give us a little of your thoughts on this to start us off with.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, so yeah, this is another episode of our How to Vet sponsor series. And yeah, if you choose a good market and a good deal, but a bad and inexperienced sponsor and team, then you could lose your shirt, period, right? So that's how important it is to invest with the right sponsor. So today we'd like to take a dive into investor reporting in particular, yeah, poor quality reporting, because oftentimes it's one of the top complaints we hear from fellow real estate investor. And if you look at the stock market, right, information on stock investment is updated almost instantaneously. But what about your real estate investment? You totally rely on the sponsor to show you the numbers and tell you how things are doing, right? So even though there's no universal standard of reporting, Adam, can you tell us what you think investors look out for as the rule of thumb?
Well, let me tell you a little story first. A story when we first started, or my father when he first started. This is before he really started asking me for guidance. This is when he went off on his own and was basically he was trusting sponsors, new sponsors that he met, and he trusted them, and he didn't really he didn't ask questions about how do they on anything about transparency reporting. But let me tell you something. I'll keep it very I'll keep it brief. Basically, there was zero communication. Like he was getting his monthly checks or quarterly, whatever it was, and but there was no communication of the progress or what's going on with the projects. he would get an email, oh, we need more money. So my father would write him a check because it was a capital call. They needed more money. So my father bailed them out multiple times. And basically, you know, later on he discovered, I discovered later on because he got me involved later on in the deals, and I started doing research. He didn't, he trusted, but I was like, let me look up some of these properties. I found out that they were sold, and he had no idea, um, and there was losses, and then
Mm.
but they never told him anything. They didn't have no updates at
Wow.
all. And then another investor of ours, the same thing, let's say it's his friend that he invited to invest, and she actually reached out to me to do some due diligence, and I started researching, and they're investing in the same deals, and the point is, you should know everything that's going on. It shouldn't be a surprise. You shouldn't have to go do your own due diligence to figure out what's going on. And look, are there losses? Things happen, but you should at least know about it. And there was no communication. And there still isn't, like, they're still invested with them because typically when you invest with sponsors, you're stuck with them for some time. And that's this case. I'm not saying these are bad people. They just don't have they don't have reporting. Their systems are not good, to be honest. It's just, um, so that's really, that's really a 1,000-foot view of the experience. Um, Now, typically with a sponsor, really, uh, a good sponsor at least should, or the industry standard reports should be frequent. Quarterly is the industry standard, and reports should contain a brief and informative narrative describing things that matter, right? Talking about that, we had a leak with the plumbing, or we're putting up sheetrock and some flooring. Like, honestly, like, no one really cares. I mean, I'm not saying people don't care, but what investors really care about are the important things, like what's going on with my money, you know, what is going on with the projected, what's the actual of the return, like what's going on, are we making money, are we losing money, am I expecting a dividend this month or this quarter or not, like what's going on, tell me some high level stuff, not, so that's, simply. But really, when you're going with a sponsor, there's when you're vetting, there should be questions that should be asked, right? And this is something that my father learned, and I've learned through my experience of researching of how to properly vet. Obviously, you're not, it's not something you're born with. You gotta learn. So I learned, and I taught my father as well. And and he, and what I learned is that first thing asked is, how's your reporting? You know, you want to know what's their level of transparency in the reporting that's being offered. And there's no real exact science to it. Everybody has their own style, okay? But typically, they should be some transparency. They should, give detail. How often is this detail? Do you get statements online? Is it through a platform? Right now, really, everything's becoming more. There's more technology that's available, so sponsors should have some type of online portal where you can log in and you can see, what's going on with your investment, how's your projections looking, and all your documents. Everything should be there. There shouldn't be any guessing of what's going on with your investment. And the books, they should, if you ask for accounting and books, or they should have no problem giving that to you, of how things are going, so one of our sponsors that we invest with, it's someone that we're very passionate about, and it's unbelievable, right? So this sponsor gives us a monthly report. They are very transparent. They'll tell us the good, the bad, the ugly. Look, investment, if a sponsor is telling you everything's beautiful, that is complete BS, because we're in the headache business. there's always going to be problems. So tell us, what are the problems going on? Are tenants not paying because of COVID? Obviously there's eviction moratorium, and there's going to be problems. How are you dealing with these problems? Okay, this is important stuff that sponsors should be talking about. Not that the world is beautiful and nothing ever happened. Like that's just not realistic. Give us detail of what's going on. Don't leave us guessing. You know, if you ask a question like our sponsor, they're very very detailed. They give us so much information via email. They have the online portal, and they're always open for a call. Like if I call, I get an answer. If I don't get an answer, I get a text message on the cell phone. Then he'll call me back, and he'll even invite on his team to give me even higher level of detail. And what's really cool about this one sponsor we're dealing with is that we have a special arrangement with them. They don't do this. Look, with their investors that invest with them directly, not through us, they'll get a monthly report, and they're always available for conversations. But we have a special relationship where, for example, we just had a Q&A for our one of our investments that we're in with our investors. We had a Q&A, I believe it was a few weeks ago, and it was for an hour, and the sponsor invited his team there, and they gave us so much detail, so much information of what's going on with the investment, and then they opened up for Q&A, and the investors would interact and ask questions, and it was awesome. So Tay, tell us, like, how was your experience with this with the last Q&A we had? Actually, it's the first one we actually had because it's a new investment that we did with them. But like, how was your experience? Like,
Yeah, it was such a great session. Yeah, instead of like going back and forth, yeah, via email, yeah, we and investor got together and to get our questions answered on the spot. I mean, so really great to have a like FaceTime, obviously, and it was super helpful to hear the status of acquisition, and their solid action plans. Yeah, literally everything was laid on the table, very transparent, like an open book, which I personally appreciated. So when reporting is done properly, whether through writing or verbal communication, that's how you'll see whether your expectations are being met. So my expectations are definitely met with this sponsor we're talking about. So yeah, we gotta really ask ourselves, like, is the plan on track? Are there challenges along the way? As Adam, you mentioned, like, yeah, the investor want to see that the sponsor is willing to deliver the bad news, right? Not just the good ones. So nothing will be a complete surprise at the end of the day. If you keep hearing only the good news, that's actually a red flag. So you may want to think twice before investing with a sponsor. Oh yeah, Adam. Yeah, what do you make of this?
yeah, so you're 100% correct. Look, reports should be transparent. They should be informative. They should be easy to find. Nothing should be hidden. There should be a narrative and about the performance of comparison of like what's the projected actual report should typically include like a balance sheet and an income statement. Like we have that, right?
Yeah.
If the investment's a fund, let's say, which we're in a fund because we raised the sponsor raised money from us to go out and buy properties, multiple properties, so it's a fund, and which means there's multiple properties owned, right? We should be able to see the property level data, not just fund level data. We should know like what's actually going, like what properties do we own? Give us some addresses,
Mm-mm.
which we have actually. He just uploaded like a map, remember, of all the addresses pinpointed, like this.
Right. The
Look 'em up,
property. Yeah, yeah.
you know. But the really unfortunate part is, like I said from my beginning, not all managers give you high level detail. They leave you guessing. And when you start to do your own research, you find out things that aren't so good, and then it has you concerned. Um, so that's just that. So really, like I said, going back, ask them for sample reports. A good sponsor will have it, lots of detail. And like I mentioned before, a lot of sponsors now have online portals. If they don't have an online portal, it's not the end of the world. but ask them, are you going to have one? Because I know another sponsor we invest with, they're actually working on creating their own. I mean, they give us a lot. They can have reports, but they're creating their own portal instead of outsourcing to a third party. They actually have a person that they hired to build it out, which is fine. But they have a new fund, and really,
Mhm.
it, you want to see like stuff like you want to see like, for example, like what the amount you have invested, what's the ownership you have, and there, you know, you could have a bunch of reporting tools like what's the projected IRR, or what's the actual IRR, you could see like charts and graphs, and you could see how much you could have a lot of different things in there. Really, the more detailed, the better. Like I mentioned, performance comparisons is very important. Um, you want to know, right? You really want to know what is going on with your money to the projected and what's the actual. I mean, that's really important. And obviously, there's a lot more stuff. If you have questions, by all means, ask us. We'll give you samples of what we're doing, and you can show us a report. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Another thing I wanted to touch on though is audit financials. Look, if it's a sponsor that has a fund that's been going on for some time, let's say 5 years or a few years, and they have a certain AUM, like let's say they're managing millions and millions of dollars. I would think say it's like $100 million fund, or 60 million, or 50. All the financials should be there, or they should be working on getting it if it's only a few years old. Like one of the sponsors we're working with, they have preliminary financials. We know they have a reputable CPA firm, and they're going to have their audit in the first quarter, Q1 of 2021. But they're getting up there as a PE firm, and they manage $1 billion AUM, and they have hundreds of millions in private equity of funds from investors like ourselves. And yes, I looked at their financials, very, very strong, and they have a reputable accounting firm. You don't want just some accounting firm that's a one-man show at their basement where you're like, well, you want an accounting firm that, they're signing that they're doing their books, and that their audit is real, and or is it, they're not gonna a good company is not going to just sign their name and say, yeah, we audit this. And this is, obviously you don't want a reputable company. But like I said, it's not a deal breaker if they're not, if it's not if they don't have audited financials. I mean, a lot of syndications don't, because, if it's a few $1,000,000, it's not really, it's not worth it to have an audit, because it could eat into the cost, the project cost. And it doesn't make any sense. But at least have a reputable company that's, at least some type of financials, what's going on. You want to know. And that's really it. I mean, if you have questions, just ask us. And going back. So one more thing, going back, all your financials, right? Just want to mention one more thing. You know how like you're choosing a manager for like, let's say, a stock, right? Are you going to invest in a penny stock, a pink sheet with no financials? I mean, you could, but it's really a gamble. A lot of them, are pump and dumps. Or you gonna feel more comfortable going with a public company trading on one of the large exchanges, let's say the Nasdaq, where you could have audited financials. Same thing with private equity. You could either have no audited financials, which you don't know, or you have audited financials, or you have no financials, which I would choose some type of financials.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, look, going back, it's not a deal breaker. A lot of syndicators don't have it because it financially it doesn't make any sense. A fund typically should have it or be working on it when they get to a certain AUM size, assets under management. You're going to want some see type of audit financials. Typically, institutional investors that invest in funds will not invest in a fund with a sponsor unless they have audit financials, for reasons being because they want to see a reputable firm and they want to see the financials. I mean, it's very important. And Tay, I mean, I'm very grateful to have you on my team because you're a CFA, you're a CPA, and you help me look over the financials, which I always encourage people that you are who your network is your net worth, right? And I want to bring on partners of mine that have skill sets like you, Tay, with the background at Goldman and your credentials. That when I'm looking, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a CFA, but I have someone next to me that is, and you help me look over the financials. That's your expertise, and I'm very grateful for that. And by all means, investors out there, if you have questions, reach out to us. Reach out to myself or Tay, and we'll help you. And that's really it. To
Yeah,
wrap.
thank you, Adam. Yeah, that was a really comprehensive and informative overview. So yeah, if you like this video, give us a little thumbs up or heart below the video, and leave us a comment below on what you look for when vetting sponsor. And if you have any question, yeah, feel free to use the comment section below. So we like to help each other out. So oh yeah, hopefully you find this a video is helpful in your real estate investing. And until next time, happy investing, everyone.
Yeah, again, smash the like button, share this with your friends. Let us know if we helped you out. Ask questions. We'll be more than happy to answer. And we're gonna have another video coming next Thursday. Every Thursday is another video. So until then, happy investing. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Yeah.